Season 23 has been out for 1 week, and you know what that means. Every YouTuber is going to come out and give their own legend tier list video, and I am no different than the rest, baby. We've got 24-ish. I don't know how many legends we have anymore. There's a lot, okay? 24-ish legends to talk about. We have a Lifeline rework, a severe meta shift right now, so I'm going to let you know what the kind of categories are that I'm thinking about when I'm ranking these legends. This is predominantly a ranked tier list. It's not for ALGS, it's not for pubs, and it will be impacted by what weapons are strong as well, so these are the legends that I think will serve you the best in the ranked playlist as you're trying to reach Apex Predator or gain as much RP as you can. These are the legends, and I have them in this order. Our bottom 5 legends in D tier are Octane, Vantage, Rampart, Bloodhound, and Ballistic. Simply put, there's really no place for any of these legends in this current shield and shotgun meta we have right now. Octane is fun, he's great in pubs, but his movement just doesn't really do all that much for you. It's really easy to beam someone out of the sky or just break their Octane pad. So the ultimate is fairly useless. He's great if you're a mouse and keyboard, movement lord, but other than that, not really. Vantage had the biggest fall from grace I've maybe ever seen from a legend in just a season or two, simply because the fact that her getting a knock with her ultimate sniper rifle doesn't matter anymore. As soon as you get knocked, they get picked up with Newcastle, Gibby, or Lifeline anyway. If you get one shot with the Vantage and mark them, it doesn't really matter because they can just drop a shield and protect themselves. Vantage is just simply nullified by shields and revives at this point. She can't quickly catch up once she gets a knock. The person will be revived with full health, so the Vantage sniper is basically useless. Rampart, if you consider her a shield legend, is by far the worst of them. The walls just don't work in a setting where you have to set them down rapidly, where Newcastle, Lifeline, and Gibby can all throw down an unbreakable shield instantly for a short period of time. The walls just take too much setup time, and the Sheila doesn't really work because you can't shoot through any of these big shields right now. So frankly, she's good to set up and hold a point for 10 minutes at a time, not really great any other time. Bloodhound, and again, in a vacuum, his kit is great, but frankly, you don't need his passive to track people down right now if you just have a recon character to scan beacons. The crows are nice for leveling up your ultimate and getting your ultimate faster, but his ult is just a black and white mode with a speed boost because every recon legend has his red highlight passive now anyway. And the scan is great. His tactical is probably the best part about him, but there's just better tacticals to choose from in the game. And Ballistic, he makes weapons faster, stronger, infinite bullets. That's really it. The Whistler is very much hindered by all of these shields you have in the game right now, so you're likely to shoot your tactical and not actually hit anyone, or if you do, they're just going to shield themselves and wait for the Whistler to end. So these are the worst legends in the game, and I'm sorry if you main these legends. Unfortunately, that's just where we're at right now. Our next group is in C tier with Fuse, Crypto, Mirage, Loba, Seer, Valkyrie, and Wraith. All of these are perfectly fine legends, but they all just aren't as powerful as some other legends that do very similar things. Let's start with Fuse. Fuse is pretty good for dealing out lots of damage, but because of all these shields that are in the game right now and he can't really pierce through them, I think he's just kind of outclassed by some of the other damage dealers like Maggie or Horizon, if you want to call her ultimate a damage dealer. Crypto was another big faller this season. I had him at S tier last season. He's now all the way down in C tier simply because his EMP cannot disrupt any of these shields. I think you're seeing a really, really big theme with this season. If you can't deal with shields, you're going to be low down on the list. His drone and his invisibility also got a little bit of a nerf, which makes it a little bit less survivable. You're not as able to rat as much, so he gets dropped a little bit. Mirage actually goes up a little bit from last season because now when you use his ultimate, there is no health bar above the real you, which was always selling out the real Mirage. It allowed people to not get confused or bamboozled at all. So he actually is a winner of this season's patch, but not by a whole lot. He's a good support legend, just kind of like how Loba is next. Both of these two support legends, they're perfectly fine at their job, but they're just outclassed by the other supports. Loba, of course, loot is great, but right now, especially with supports, you don't need as many heals because support cells and syringes are worth double on those 6 legends. So frankly, while they are good legends, Mirage and Loba, they just don't excel really in anything. Mirage can bamboozle, Loba has some movement, but that's really it. Seer, he's the better version of Bloodhound, but right now these scans just aren't super valuable, especially in this meta where you're kind of throwing down and shotgunning and getting in bubble fights and building fights and door peaks. Right now, you really don't need a scan to know where everyone is. You kind of see everyone. So unless you want to say his tactical is super strong for canceling some of these special revives that Lifeline and Newcastle have, that is true, and that is good to be able to silence that ability, but Seer stays down here in C tier. Valkyrie and Wraith both as well are up here because they're true skirmisher legends with a movement ability with the portal for Wraith and the ultimate for Valkyrie respectively, and they're both fine. They're both good at getting in and fighting people and getting out of dodge, whether it's via a phase or a jetpack, but frankly, they're just not really needed for the movement part of them. You could go an entire season probably and never feel like you needed a Wraith portal or a Valkyrie ultimate to get you out of some trouble. They're nice to have, but they're not necessary, and that's why these legends are all down here in C tier. Moving up to B tier, we have Ashe, Maggie, Caustic, Wattson, Alter, and Catalyst. These are some legends that I would actually say are quite good, but not quite at that upper echelon of great characters, and we'll go through each one of them now. We really saw an Ashe renaissance last season with a lot of people enjoying her tethers much more than normal. It is a great utility for stopping somebody from escaping or taking a true 1v1 where they can't move and you already have a damage advantage. Both of her greedy snare where it lasts longer and snags multiple people, or having 2 snares where you can just shoot the same one over and over again, is both great perks. Her ultimate is fine. It's funky to use, but it does get you from point A to point B safely, and that's always useful. Bad Maggie is in B tier, drops down a little bit last season from A tier because her Wrecking Ball cannot block Gibby Bubbles anymore. It can't destroy them, actually. It gets blocked by the Gibby Bubble. But the drills still go through shield, so she can use her drill and pierce through a Gibby Bubble, a Lifeline ultimate, or a Newcastle shield, and she'll be able to deal that burn damage, maybe get some people off of their heals or move them back a little bit. It is a shotgun meta, which bodes very well for Maggie, and if her Wrecking Ball did break these Gibby Bubbles, she'd be a lot higher, but she still does a lot for your team anyway. She's great with shotguns, the drill's great, she's an apply pressure legend, and in a season with a lot of revives, that could be very useful, so Maggie comfortably here in B tier. Caustic is very interesting. His kit is strong if you're going to hold down a building. The only downside is now you've got these Venn diagrams with all the shields that are happening, and because Caustic Gas doesn't stun your movement as much, it's a little bit easier to get out of, but still, you can only put Caustic so low when the gas damage does tick up to a considerable rate at 10 damage per tick if they decide to stay in that gas. It is very, very strong to force somebody to have to pop health meds and shield meds. He is very hard to beat in a building. That's not really what you're going with right now, so he's kind of at his floor at B tier. You're not going to use him that often, but there are absolutely moments where you can use Caustic. Similar to Wattson. Wattson, I think, is even better at holding down a building than Caustic is. She's just a little bit worse at playing offensively. Exact same story here. There's really a floor with Caustic and Wattson both. They're great if you want to play super defensive. They can be really useful, and the fences can be useful just like Caustic traps can be useful. They might be disrupted by some shields from time to time, but they're both great if you want to play a very zone-oriented style. That's why they're both sitting here right next to each other at B tier. Alter, exact opposite. She's great at breaching a building. She really does have some of the most unique angles and push capabilities of any legend in the game because of the fact that you can just go through any wall surface you can find. It is very, very nice to have. Her teleporter ultimate is great if you get into a big pickle where you need to get out. You can go use it like a rev totem, go push somebody, crack your own shields, get really, really weak, and then just portal back, safely heal. Or if you get knocked, you can go back. And they added a little bit of a timer so that you can't be chased immediately through your altar portal, which is great, but again, she's not outstanding. She's very creative, and that's why I think she's here at B tier. Catalyst is the most well-rounded controller character in the game. I think that her wall may be a little bit underrated right now because you could throw down her Catalyst wall through all of the Gibby Bubbles and Lifeline ultimates and really cause some more problems, a lot more clutter, a lot more confusion for the team using all their shields. I haven't tried this too much, I'll be honest. Catalyst could be higher than this, but I've got her in B tier for now because she's just a really well-rounded legend. Up here in A tier are some familiar faces with Revenant, Pathfinder, Horizon, and Conduit. All of these super duper strong legends, but they just have a couple things holding them away from being at the very, very top. Revenant, of course, he is still a monster. His ultimate does take a little bit longer to pop now, and his shields act a little bit differently on that overshield, but he is still a 1v1 demon. Only downside for him right now is the fact that you can't pop the ultimate in the middle of a fight now. You really need to pop it beforehand because it takes so long to activate. Pathfinder, still fantastic, but he actually suffers from the same thing that Revenant suffers, is they're both very big legends that don't have fortified. And when you're fighting 3 Mastiffs and you're getting hit for 90 very easily in every fight, that is miserable. Trust me, I play a lot of Pathfinder, and I rarely get hit for anything less than a max pump of a shotgun. These two are shotgun phobic, beyond a shadow of a doubt. They're fantastic legends with really great abilities, but in a shotgun meta, you have to be very careful because you know you're going to take a lot of damage against those types of weapons. Horizon is up here as well. She does not have as big of a hitbox as Pathfinder and as Revenant, but she does have a little bit worse of a kit in my opinion. While those two are unparalleled in their ability to take 1v1s or their ability to move around, Horizon does have great movement. She does have an ultimate that is fairly strong. The downside for Horizon, of course, is that with all these shields, you can have your ultimate zapped by a Newcastle ultimate, or you can have it blocked by a Gibby bubble. However, I do believe she is very strong going up against Lifeline. If you are able to get up in the air and throw your Horizon ult in the middle of that Lifeline halo, and get some arc stars down, that is a great way to deal some bulk damage quickly. So I believe that Horizon might even be a little bit underrated right now. She's a very strong legend, always has been, and I believe she remains to be to this day. Conduit, she is extremely underrated in my opinion right now. She's not being used because she doesn't have a shield, but the fact that she can still fully charge your teammate's shield or halfway charge 2 teammate shields is something that is severely underrated in this game right now, especially with all of these support legends reviving people and having their shields, not their shields, their health passively regen. Being able to passive regen both shield and health with Lifeline drone and Conduit, or just getting revived and getting zapped by a Conduit, you can immediately go fully back into a fight. She is fantastic. While the meta right now is resetting, she can prevent you from having to reset in the first place, which I think is very strong. And that rounds out our A tier. Obviously, nobody should be shocked at our S tier. It is Newcastle, Lifeline, Gibby, and Bangalore in that order. We'll start from the bottom. Bangalore, she did not change at all, and frankly, she never has to. She is the most well-rounded character in the game. All of her abilities are good for a multitude of factors on offense and on defense. She stays at the bottom of S tier until she gets super nerfed because she is just the most flexible legend that has ever been in this game. And now we get to the shield legends. Gibraltar is third for me just because Gibraltar is a little bit less specialized than Lifeline and Newcastle in the area of resetting. The bubble is great, but he doesn't have a hands-free revive or a protected revive. The Gibraltar bombardment really is his best ability right now because with all these Newcastle shields and Lifeline halos going down, the Gibraltar bombardment can get a lot of serious damage, which is super duper strong. And don't forget about his new blue perk, which gives you the ability to automatically reload shotguns on a knock and gives you Mad Maggie passive, which gives you the speed boost while holding shotgun. So now you've got an auto reloading fast Gibraltar with a gun shield and a Mastiff in his bubble. That is terrifying to deal with. I believe that he actually might be the best offensive legend in the game right now. But offense doesn't compare to defense this season, which is why we've got Lifeline and Newcastle at number 2 and number 1. You can flip these around if you want, but I truly believe these are the 2 best legends in the game right now. Their ability to prevent your team from dying is unparalleled. Newcastle has a protected revive, and he can literally supersonic speed around the map. It's unbelievable. Lifeline is able to hands-free revive. She's able to throw her drone to attach to people, so you can now have a drone follow you around while you're fighting to heal your health. She's got unbelievable, super fast heals inside that halo. I mean, you're popping Phoenix kits in 5 seconds, batteries in 2.5 seconds. It's truly unbelievable how quickly she can prevent your team from getting knocked. Or when you get knocked, throw it down. You're full HP before the Pathfinder has even grappled into your bubble. It's actually unbelievable. Newcastle and Lifeline are the 2 best legends in the game right now, and it's all thanks to their defensive capabilities of being able to reset. When you're on the back foot, you can reset quickly, get to full health immediately, and fight again before the other team has even had the chance to close the distance. That's unbelievably strong right now. Couple that with the fact they both have shields, so you give them both a Mastiff, and they are lethal on offense. These are your best legends, and I don't think anyone is going to argue with me about S tier. But I'd love to hear your opinions on the rest of my list. It's very interesting right now because many legends did not change. However, the state of the game did, and that's why some legends fall down, some legends go up. This is the big example of why Gibby fell a couple years ago. He didn't change at all, but the meta changed around him that caused him to fall. It's the exact opposite now. You're seeing some of these shield legends move way up in the list because we have a true shield shotgun reset meta on our hands. That causes some other legends to fall that are better with SMGs, better with dealing damage. But let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear them in the comments. I'll be reading every single one of them. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.